Today we are talking all about how leaders, founders, anybody can truly switch off and disconnect from your phone and your apps. Being always on often feels really necessary, especially if you are a leader, but it's a complete trap. And today I'm going to show you why. So many of us feel like we need to always be on. I've certainly felt that, especially working in startups, it can be really, really intense. And you feel like you need to be giving 150% all the time, 24/7. But it's not sustainable. And that's one of the biggest issues, is that it can lead to significant burnout. The Harvard Business Review has found that nearly 60% of execs feel like they are expected to be available 24/7. That's not, oh, they feel like they probably should. They feel like they are expected. And that's ridiculous. I understand if you are on call or if you need to be on support for something at a given time, that's a totally different thing. But this needing to be on 24/7 is not healthy. This constant pressure, which is often self-imposed, leads to higher stress, makes you more anxious, lowers your job satisfaction, and it will lead to burnout. In creative industries like games or creative tech, mental fatigue directly affects your problem solving and creative output. Like if you've ever felt like you're really struggling to solve an issue, like a bug in some code, or you just can't grasp some like game design or a creative project. Have you ever noticed that if you take a break and you go have a shower, go for a walk, switch off for a bit, you often come up with the answer? Bear that in mind, because taking a break and switching off is often exactly what we need. And yet society, and especially social media, makes you think that you should not switch off. So let's talk a little bit about the science of digital addiction, why it is so hard to switch off. Social apps, whether that is something like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or even LinkedIn, use variable reward systems. They're kind of like slot machines, and they create these unpredictable dopamine spikes. Every notification, every like, every share, every little stat check where you see the numbers go up creates a tiny little dopamine hit. It makes you feel really, really good for a fraction of a second, and it reinforces the habit to check. People often check their phone on average 96 times a day, which is such a ridiculous number. And the more we check, the more addicted we become. Have you ever had that thing where you're on your phone and you'll check Instagram or something, and you're scrolling and you see nothing and you're just wasting time, you're just doom scrolling? You close the app and habitually you instantly reopen the app. There is nothing in there. There is nothing that's changed. And yet we still do it. These apps are engineered to be addictive. If you are using something that's free, such as, again, these social apps, quite often you are the product. Attention, your attention, is an incredibly valuable commodity, because your attention means more money. It means more money from sponsors and adverts and all the other places where these places get money, right? Maybe it's more investment because they've got more eyes, they've got more users. Your attention is so, so valuable. And so these apps are engineered to keep you hooked and addicted. So we need to try and figure out how we're going to resist the urge to check not only the social apps, but to resist this urge to constantly be on, to constantly be updating, to be posting in Slack outside of work hours, to be checking emails, because we don't need to do it. Most things can wait. One of the things that is really detrimental about these apps and this habit of checking things and posting outside of work hours is it can really impact your mental health. It can make you feel like you can't rest, you can't relax, and it will do the same to your team. But even worse, it can really impact your sleep. Now, we all need good sleep. We know that, right? We know that we need ideally 7 to 8 hours of rest for most people to wake up feeling refreshed the next day. But many of us don't sleep through the night. Many of us struggle to fall asleep, and we wake up repeatedly. If you are using your phone late at night, it can suppress melatonin. The blue light is really not good for you. And if you are not sleeping deeply enough and you're not getting your REM sleep, you will not be rested. And when you're not well rested, or if your sleep has been affected, it's going to impact your decision making. it's going to impact your emotional regulation and your overall cognitive performance. You're going to be more stressed. Your team's going to pick up on it. Everybody's going to get more anxious. And the productivity of everything is just going to diminish very, very quickly. Even a short scroll before bed can keep you wired and exhausted. Have you ever had one of those nights where you're just chilling on the sofa, you're watching Netflix or something, you've fallen asleep and you feel like your eyelids are heavy? You could just fall asleep right there. And you think, I should get up and go to actual bed. And so you go to bed and you quickly check your phone. And before you know it, you've spent 10 minutes scrolling and you're not sleepy anymore. Your eyelids aren't heavy anymore. It's really, really not good. And yet everybody seems to be addicted to this cycle of constantly checking their phone, always being on and never really switching off. So why is it so hard to switch off, especially if you're a leader, a founder, or you work for someone who's really intense? Many of us tie our work or our businesses to our identities. If you're a founder, your business is like an extension of your life, of your world. If you're a leader, you care about your teams. And if you're a team member, you're going to feel like, I need to be showing that I'm really dedicated, especially in industries where there is so much redundancies at the moment, especially like things like games. It's one of those really horrible cycles where people need to feel like they show that they're really engaged and that they're always on. But unfortunately, it will burn you out. For founders, often there's things like funding stress, these limited runways that are causing those redundancies. And team pressures give you this constant feeling of, it's almost like an anxious fight or flight. You're in this survival mode. And it makes you constantly need to check in. Do you need to check your emails? Do you need to check for speaking opportunities? Do we need to check Slack? Do we need to make sure we're going to hit our runway? Let's pressure everybody to keep working and send these emails outside of hours or Slack messages. But most of those emails, any social media notifications, messages on LinkedIn, Slack, it could easily wait a few hours or even a day. Schedule your Slack messages to send later if you find yourself doing it. Try to avoid putting your team in a situation where they feel like they need to be always on just because you feel like you need to always be on. Okay, so let's talk about some practical steps to switch off because it is really, really not easy. As I mentioned before, all these apps are engineered to keep us engaged, to keep us addicted, to keep us constantly checking. And society has led us to believe we are always needing to be on. So how do we stop it? Number one, remove the apps from your phone. Social media, Slack, or other addictive apps need to be moved if they can be. Most of these work in your browser. You can use Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, LinkedIn. Use them in your browser. You don't need them on your phone. If you're going to a networking event, take notes of people's names and then add them later. You don't need to be doing it right there and then. If you've got these apps on your phone, you will check them because they are built to make you fail in your challenge to disconnect. I found myself checking LinkedIn on a Sunday morning and I'm like, why the hell am I checking LinkedIn on a Sunday morning? Like, that is pathetic. But we all do it. We'll all end up checking Instagram and TikTok in the early hours of the morning or 6 a.m., 7 a.m. when you wake up. Like, why do we do it? We do it because they're addictive. We do it because we get the dopamine spikes and we're all addicted to dopamine. So the only way to stop it is to remove those apps. Remove everything you can that is non-essential. For those that are considered essential, for example, emails, just limit how many times they can ping you, whether you set certain times for notifications or you just turn off notifications entirely. Try and batch it as best you can. Tip number 2, and I've heard a few people using this, is to put your phone in grayscale mode. Ali Abdaal on his productivity show, he talked about this and he said his team did it as well. And I've tried doing it and it really does help. Putting your phone in grayscale mode makes things far less engaging. It reduces the compulsive scrolling and just makes you not really want to check it. The main issue I've found with that is if I put, say, an iPhone in grayscale mode, it fully impacts things like the camera. So if I'm wanting to take photos at events, I struggle with that and I have to keep switching from grayscale to color. If you know any tips for that, let me know. If that works on Android, I would probably switch to Android so I can have certain apps be color and others not be, because that would be super, super helpful. Another tip is to try and figure out like a digital hygiene ritual. Now, that might sound really weird, but back in the day, we would have commutes. Like most people didn't work from home. And I know a lot of people are moving back towards either hybrid or in the office, but there's many of us that still work from home. We don't have that commute. We don't have those transitions between work mode and normal life mode. If you've got a room where your equipment is, like I do, got a little home study, you're always seeing your work equipment. Like I play games and socialize on the same PC I do my work on. There's no separation. So try and add extra bits of separation wherever you can. Set your phone in do not disturb mode outside of work hours, especially for any work apps. And then try and create almost like a fake commute. And that just needs to be a bit of transition time. Get out for a walk if you can, do some exercise. If you can't do that, try meditation, try journaling, play a game, do something that switches your mind from work mode to home mode. And try and make that a regular habit. It doesn't have to be for long. It can be for 15 minutes. But if you make that a little ritual, it will really, really help you switch. And when you switch out of work mode, you are going to feel much less compelled to check your emails, to check Slack, to send messages. And another little digital hygiene step is to keep your devices out of the bedroom. It is not healthy to have your phone next to your bed because when you wake up, you are going to check it. If you can't sleep, you're going to check it and it's going to impact your sleep. So keep all your devices out the bedroom. And just invest in a simple alarm clock. We don't need phones. As much as we rely on that one device to do everything, we don't need it. And that will help you break your addiction and the impulsive picking up of the phone as your default thing to do whenever you are idle. We're going to batch check-ins. Now that could be setting a particular time of day. It could be saying, look, 5 p.m. every day is when I'm going to check all my emails, check all my social media, batch reply to everything. The reason why that works is because often our best energy is at the start of the day. Like your mornings, your early afternoon, we're all really engaged. And by the time you get to mid-afternoon, you're kind of flagging on energy. You've done so many meetings. Like you've just been busy doing stuff. So save your energy for the start of the day. Try and put meetings in the afternoon if you can, and then do all your social media updates and your emails and your check-in stuff at the end of the day. And an extra benefit of that is if you do it at the end of the day, people are less likely to immediately reply. So then you can just batch it till the next day. Makes life so, so much easier. And then one of the other things we are going to try and do is to try and have little mini digital detoxes. And this is really hard, I know, but try and take half an hour away from your phone. Put it in a different room or go for a walk without your phone. And it's going to feel really uncomfortable. You're going to instinctively go to grab it. You're going to try and do something with your phone, but try not to. Go out, take a physical bank card so you don't have to use your phone to pay and just try and switch off. And I guarantee by the time you get back, 99.9% of the time, nothing major is going to have happened. And when you start to feel comfortable doing it for half an hour, do it for an hour, do it for a few hours. And then maybe, I don't know, once a month or so, do a day or a weekend where you just switch off from your phone entirely. Switch your phone off if you can. Like, it will help you so much and you will feel so much more rested. I want to talk a little bit about leading by example. This is going to be more relevant to like the founders and the leaders watching this, but your team will mirror your behaviors. If you're always online, if you're always checking emails, if you're slacking them at 9 p.m., or if you're stressed, if you're coming in anxious, if you're bringing in any sort of toxic energy or behaviors, your team is going to mirror that. They will feel the same. So if you're checking Slack and emails at 9 p.m., they're going to be checking Slack and emails at 9 p.m. They're going to feel like they need it on their phone. If you set boundaries for yourself, you will work better, but you will also model those healthy work habits for your team and help them set those boundaries as well. Protecting your team in this way shows them it's safe to disconnect. It empowers them and it prevents not only you burning out, but prevents them burning out. I guarantee they'll be much happier in their job and you'll probably get more done in less time because you'll all have the energy. You'll all be feeling much more creative. So those are my tips for how you disconnect, how you switch off and try and break this addiction to your phone and also try and stop posting to Slack and emails at like silly hours of the day. I'm going to quickly recap though, because that was a lot. So some quick action points for you. Delete the unnecessary apps from your phone. Use them in your browser instead. For anything that is essential, for example, emails, turn off the notifications entirely. Or if you can't do that, schedule them for batch check-ins, preferably towards the end of the day. Use grayscale mode to reduce any addictive engagement. Enable the do not disturb setting on your phone outside of work hours and try to establish those transition rituals. Help you go from work to life and have those be as separate as you can. Keep your devices out of your bedroom. It will help you sleep better, but it will also break the habit of you instinctively picking up your phone at the slightest hint of being bored or fidgety or having free hands. Like, we instinctively do that. So keep your devices out of the bedroom. And please lead by example. Model disconnection to your team. Help them thrive. You know, we're all feeling a bit of this struggle with social media, with apps, with feeling like you always need to be on LinkedIn, always need to be on Slack. So lead by example. Disconnect and show them that it's safe to do that too. All right. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found that helpful. Please remember that switching off isn't optional. It's essential. It's a skill that protects your mental health, your creativity, and also protects your team. Start with one or two of the steps and build it up gradually, because I promise if you try and do all of them at once, you're going to feel so uncomfortable that it's going to be really difficult. So do one or two little baby steps at a time and slowly increase it as you go. And I promise you will slowly start to feel better. You'll feel less addicted to your phone and it will really help you. Thank you so much for listening to or watching today's episode of the Goth Boss podcast. If you think that this will help somebody, please do send it to them. If you know someone that's constantly checking their phone, just send it over, because it might be that they do it, but they don't want to, and they wish they had some tips on how to reduce it. So please send this to anybody you think might find it helpful. And if you have found it helpful, please drop me a little follow or subscribe. That's super, super helpful. It helps more than you know. And honestly, I would love to hear your tips that can help me and other people as well. If you know of any apps that let you set grayscale mode for just certain apps, whether that's Android or iOS, please let me know and let's share those bits of advice with everybody. All right. Thank you for listening. I will see you next time on the Goth Boss podcast. Bye.